Good morning, friends. Today's episode of DPS Indirapuram Alumni Speaks has another very special guest who belongs to a group of professionals who worked tirelessly during the recent times and served the nation selflessly to dispel the gloom of the pandemic that engulfed the world. Though physically and emotionally exhausted, these warriors were the real life heroes who never left the front and kept serving humanity. Yes, they are none other than our medical professionals, doctors, and health workers. We salute them on our show today and have with us one such alumni, Dr. Kalika Maheshwari, who, as a medical intern, battled the raging fires of the pandemic selflessly. Welcome, Dr. Kalika. You have truly lived up to the spirit of our school motto, service before self. We are proud of you and are immensely happy to have you on our show today.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
I think it's a great pleasure for me to be on DPS's Alumni Speaks today. I think it's a dream come true because even in class 9th and 10th, when I saw my alumni coming up on stage in the auditorium and sharing their experiences, as a kid, I used to dream that I want to be that one day. So I think I'm living my dream today, and it's an honor.
No, it's really good. It's an honor for me too. I think it's honor for DPS Indirapuram to have such a brilliant student. And so, how are you today?
I'm good. I'm doing good. I just came back from the hospital. I was on duty. So
That's good. So, how's weather been treating you there?
it's pretty warm here. The weather here in Varanasi is pretty unpredictable. You'll find it pretty cold and nippy in the evenings as well. But right now it's very sunny.
Yeah, same here. Like the weather's been really funny lately. Sometimes it's raining, sometimes it's cold, and now currently it's really hot. And so, before we start our session with Dr. Kalika, I would like to tell our viewers who are witnessing the live show on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We welcome you all and would also like to tell you to keep your questions ready for Dr. Kalika because we will be taking some of them up in between and at the end of the session. So, without much further ado, let's begin. So, Dr. Kalika, as per your academic records, you've always been a really bright student. So, what made you choose medicine as a career? Was it always your dream to study medicine and take it up as a career?
Well, so I've always been fond of biology, partly because as a kid, I was always channeled towards the scientific school of thought by my parents, who are both have graduated in science. My dad's an engineer, and my mom graduated in botany. So I think it was constant reinforcement from them as well. And not just that, I've always been fond of reading encyclopedias, no matter how bookish it might sound. But then I was always curious to learn more about biology. I was the curious kid who kept on asking her parents more about the human body, how it functions. So I think towards the end of my schooling, I think not towards the end, more like in class 8th, I think I was pretty enchanted by the subject and I really wanted to take it up. So I decided, yeah, I am going to pursue PCP in school.
That's really great. It's like, yeah, I'm listening to you right now, and I know I feel the same because I am curious about biology too. And it was really nice to hear that you were too. So, do you have any family members or role models who are doctors and have been influential in your decision to pursue medicine as a career?
Yes. So my mom's elder sister, my Masi, she is a doctor. And ever since I was, I think, 5 years old, she used to take me with her to parties and get-togethers where there were other doctors and their kids. And I even used to go with her to her hospital where she used to work and meet a lot of people. So when you go to a hospital, you see a lot of models and diagrams and charts in a doctor's chamber. So I think that helped me a lot. And not just that, she used to bring a lot of books for me. of human anatomy, and those kids' book which have a lot of illustrations. So that made my interest in biology grow even stronger. And so yeah, I think she has been a major influence in me taking up medicine and deciding that I want to be a doctor.
That's really great. Yeah. It's good to have a motivation and inspiration that's really personal to you. Like you know them, and that's really great. So, DPS Indrapuram is your alma mater, and I believe you were one of the favorite students. So, how would you say DPS Indrapuram shaped you as a person?
I think DPS made me who I am in one line. If I were to tell you how DPS helped me, I think I'd have to start from when I started school in 2003. And I was in school for 13 years. I never changed. And so I left school in 2016. And I was in those 13 years, I think TPS was that one factor which gave me that one platform where I could discover myself as a person. So, be it learning what I'm good at, or improving my abilities and skills and working on what I am good at, was was something that DPS helped me with. So, from learning a third language, I learned German since class fourth, and be it learning a third language or learning new dance forms and honing my public speaking skills by comparing or debate competitions and stuff like that. I mean, the co-curricular atmosphere, the opportunities you get at DPS and Indirapuram to participate in co-curriculars and not just a really good sense of academics is what makes you develop as a person. And I think that helped me a lot. And DPS, that thing, along with the constant support from my parents, I think those two things are actually the things which have shaped me as a person today. So when I remember in my first year of college and my second year of college, when I used to give vivas, oral examinations, I remember my professors asking me, Beta, which school are you from? Like after the end of the viva, they would ask me, like, which school are you from? So even though I used to be sitting on the chair, a tiny Kalika inside me used to stand up straight and tall and be like, "Sir, ma'am, I'm from DPS Indirapuram." And so it was really proud, and I was so happy to call myself a dipsite because it shows, like when you go to a medical college or you go to any college, you step out of your comfort zone and then you meet a lot of new people from different backgrounds. Coming from a school like DPS really helps you to stand apart from everyone else. So I think DPS shaped me a lot in a lot many ways.
Obviously, I agree to you, and DPS has shaped me, and I am so far how DPS shaped me. And listening to you and seeing that DPS has played such a great role in your experience, I'm sure it has been um, it's been an inspiration for every student. So, how did the teachers at DPS influence and help shape your career?
So I think apart from the opportunities that DPS gave me, the school is not just a building. It's made up of the teachers who made it come alive. And for me, being the teacher's pet that I was, I think my teachers played the biggest role. I remember I was like an above average student. Like my teachers used to tell my parents and PTMs that, okay, she can do much better. She can be among the top three. Why is she always among the top five? So up until class 8th, I was like that. Then in class 9th, when during my half yearlies, this one particular incident that I clearly remember, I got a really nice scolding in front of my father from my maths teacher, Shanu ma'am. And so I think that was one of the first scoldings that I ever got. And it didn't shake me. It made me realize that I'm doing something wrong because I'd made so many silly mistakes in that one paper. She told me that this is not what you're supposed to be. I mean, she used to tell me even in class that Kalika, you can do much better than just this. I was really bad at math up till class 8th. And I think ninth, my percentage and my marks drastically changed. Thanks to Shanu ma'am and her constant motivation telling me that Kalika beta, you can do much better than this and you're capable of much better than this. So I think she played a major role in making me a better student. And not just ma'am, I think Comedy ma'am and Prerna ma'am, my German teachers, they provided me with such love and care in school. They used to call themselves my mother in school. And they gave me that one opportunity which changed my way of being in class 10th. So I went for this youth camp in class 10th, which was organized by Goethe Institute, Max Miller Bhavan, New Delhi. So ma'am gave me the opportunity to be a part of that. And for a month, I was in Germany in St. Peter Ording. And when I came back, Comedy ma'am and Prerna ma'am told me that, Kalika, you've changed. So I think that was pivotal for me. And if you talk about how TPS helped me or my teachers helped me mold myself towards a medical career, I think my biology teachers, Manjari ma'am and Sumita ma'am, had the biggest role to play in that. Manjari ma'am taught me biology from class, I think in class 6th, even before that, once or twice in earlier classes. So in class 6th, 7th, and 9th and 10th. And trust me, she is such a sweet teacher. Like I used to pester her left and right with so many doubts, littlest of things from NCERT textbooks and whatnot. And I used to pester her even after the school had ended. I remember this one time I went to her after dispersal. Ma'am, I still have this one doubt. And she was like, Beta, I'm really tired. I'll get back to you tomorrow. So, but she always did. She always got back to me. She always made sure that I had my doubts cleared. I used to run from the dance class, from the dance room in B block to C block on the top floor where my class was, just to attend her class. Like I used to be the first person in class. We used to sit and talk for a bit. So yeah, that was 9th and 10th. And in 11th and 12th, Sumita ma'am was a major influence because she encouraged me to keep working on the knowledge I had. Like she used to ask me to come up in front of the class and explain a particular concept or draw a life cycle on the board or explain something. So when you get that constant positive reinforcement from your teachers, so I think that really helps you to be positive about your own knowledge and have that confidence in you that, okay, I can do it. Someone believes in me. So I really thank all of my teachers and countless more. I mean, if I start naming, it's going to be a long list. But I think I really thank my teachers for giving me that constant positive reinforcement and telling me that, yes, you can do it.
Yes, that's great. Teachers are gurus, and no teacher, like not a single teacher would want anything bad for us. They might scold us, but there's always a good reason behind it. And Manjari ma'am, I know she is currently my biology teacher. She's really sweet. I can relate to you. So now, can you share with us some of your favorite school memories?
So as I mentioned, I think going to Germany in class 10th was the best day ever. I was called by Comedy ma'am and Prerna ma'am and told, Beta, do you want to go to Germany? And like, you're really good at German. So like, would you want to go for this? And I was like in shock. I'm like, okay, what just happened? So we made a call to my father, and so that eventually happens. I think going to Germany, even though it was a group of around 50 people from India itself, from Pune and other states, but going in a group to a different country in class 10th, a 13-year-old kid, that was one of the best memories I've had because I never really went for any school trips. I never really went for that. But this was one school trip, I think, which was pretty memorable. And apart from that, I have participated in countless dance performances and competitions and scholar badge or competitions elsewhere. And one which I remember really distinctly was this inter DPS competition from DPS Saket. And it was a group French dance competition. And we won the second prize after, I think, 1 or 2 years they tried before. So this one time I went and then we won the second prize. So we were overjoyed. Like I was in class 8th and we were overjoyed. And then we performed the same dance in school. So I think getting on stage and performing was my thing up until class 9th when I let it go and I was like, okay, I need to study now. But So yeah, I think all of those dance performances and getting up on stage, comparing in scholar badge and everything, that was the highlight of school. It was a roller coaster ride, but it was worth it. I mean, in 11th and 12th, I was the front bencher. I was that one kid who didn't talk a lot, who used to sit on the front bench, answer all the teachers' questions, be very disciplined and dressed properly, tie up, really nice, but collar button closed. So I was that kid, the studious kid in class, didn't have a lot of friends, really less social life. I mean, in class 12th, when I had to receive my gold medal, I didn't go for the scholar badge ceremony because I had a class in my coaching. So I was that crazy. So I think that you can know that why I didn't have a lot of friends in school, because I used to study all the time. So when I got Miss Best Dressed in my farewell, I was surprised. Okay, like people know that I exist, like I'm there. All right, that was a really pleasant surprise.
Like seeing you right now, watching you, I can't imagine you as the shy first bencher kid. And you said that you didn't go to your scholar badge ceremony for a class. That is not craziness. That's your determination. And see what has got you. That has got you here right now. Your determination, your focusedness. And Dr. Kalika, you scored a spectacular rank of 272 in the NEET UG 2016 exam. So, can you share some valuable tips with some of our young viewers who aspire to be doctors in the future?
So everyone who's watching, the students and parents, I think I'll share a little about my story coming to BHU after my NEET. So I prepared for 2 years, 11th and 12th, and I gave my NEET UG exam immediately after, and I got in, which was a great relief because I wasn't one of those kids who would take a drop and prepare again. So I think a few things which students who are in 11th and 12th right now should take into consideration on the basis of my experience would be: number one, to keep all distractions at bay when you're studying. Children nowadays have Instagram and Facebook and WhatsApp, and all I had at that point in time was Facebook. And I had deactivated it for 2 years. So I didn't even have, I think we didn't have WhatsApp back then, or even if we did, I didn't use it. So students right now, what you need to understand is that if you keep using your phone while you're studying, your concentration is going to split. You're not going to be able to grasp and assimilate whatever you're studying. So even if you have to use your phone, study for like 20 minutes, 15 minutes, or half an hour or an hour, as much as you can with full concentration, and then take a break. See, taking a break is equally important as a dedicated period of study. So if you're studying dedicatedly for 15 minutes or for 30 minutes, then you should take another 15-minute or 10-minute break. I'm not saying, okay, study for half an hour and then take a 2-hour break. That's insane. Don't do that. But take breaks as to refresh your brain and to assimilate that information. All right. So, but while you're taking a break, don't get lost in scrolling Instagram, right? So you have to have that self-control. Number two, one thing which I was really particular about, and I'm still particular about, is making and following a schedule. I have a planner. I am obsessed with planning things out and organizing things. So I think that is one thing which will really help every student, be in class 11th and 12th, preparing for NEET or any other exam or studying on a daily basis, is when you have a chart on a weekly basis of what you need to do in a day. And when you have those small set goals, they have to be achievable goals. When you have those goals set, and when you, at the end of the day, when you strike them off on your calendar, that helps you feel really good about yourself. Like, okay, I completed 3 sets of things today, which I had to. So that is going to boost your confidence and keep you going and keep your things in an organized manner. So if you have to study for a test, you have 7 days, plan it out, right? So that I still do that. So still helps me. Then I think one of the things students compromise a lot on is sleep and diet. So all of you right now are at home. You guys are lucky. You guys are privileged. You are at the comfort of your homes, under the care of your parents. And so take the most, take advantage of that. And since you're getting a really good atmosphere, take a good diet and a 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Once you get into a medical college, it's very hard for you to clock in those sleep hours. But if you keep on studying when you're preparing for NEET and you don't take abundant time off to sleep, your brain is going to get fatigued and you're not going to be able to retain any more information and you're going to start forgetting things, right? So there is something called, okay, I won't get into that. I think students are watching. So what you need to understand is that you need to sleep well and take a really good healthy diet. My mother, she was very particular during my NEET preparation times to give me dry fruits every single day at particular times in the day with milk, after milk, breakfast. Almonds, walnuts are, you should have almonds and walnuts on your study table. Just keep munching while you're eating. It's good brain food. Your brain needs food to work. It needs energy. It's such an energy consuming organ. You need energy to work, right? So take a lot of almonds, take a lot of walnuts, ample amount of sleep, water as always. And yes, I think students who are preparing for NEET particularly should, if I talk about subjects, you should focus a lot more on biology because it's easy scoring, right? 720 marks, you have, that's the total. And you have 360 marks of biology. So it's pretty easy to score if you have your concepts right. NCRT is the base and the main foundation of NEET. And I was looking through the papers nowadays, they are more and more focused on NCRT than my paper was. So I think you need to cover to cover, you need to memorize NCRT back and forth. And don't just focus on rote learning, right? Understand the concepts. Take as many doubt sessions as you can, as many, be it from your teachers at school, be it in your tuition or elsewhere, but take as many doubt sessions. There will be times when you were like, okay, I know this, I don't need to clarify this concept even more, even though you might have like a little bit of doubt in your head. And when that particular concept shows up on the paper, it'll confuse you and you won't be able to make sense of the options, right? So it is very vital for you to take as many doubt sessions. It doesn't have to be a stupid doubt. There is nothing called a stupid doubt, right? Initially, I used to be shy. I was like, okay, what if my teacher is going to think that I'm stupid, that I'm asking such a stupid doubt about this particular concept, which I've already talked about and already learned 3 times already. But I eventually realized that if I just keep my doubts unclear, if I keep, piling up my doubts, it was affecting my score, right? So clear your doubts. And I think that's what NEET people should focus on. And one very small thing, I think that NEET is still OMR based. So try and not lose marks in an OMR sheet. That is the worst mistake you can ever do. So if you're in the habit of filling in OMR at the end after completing an entire paper, your chances of filling the wrong bubble and getting all the other questions wrong is very high, right? So what I personally did was I used to fill the OMR sheet page by page. So 5 questions on a page, OMR sheet, and the paper, filled it. So that's a better way of doing it as per me. I mean, people have different approaches, but this is one thing you can try if it works for you. So I think, I can go on talking about NEET, but if there are any more questions, people can contact me.
Yeah. So yeah, after listening to this, I am deactivating all my social media. So now I would like to ask you, how was it adjusting to the huge shift from living in the comfort of your home to living at a hostel, having to manage everything on your own?
It was terrible. So I still am the pampered kid at home. So whenever I go, I don't do anything. I just sit and relax. So I used to be that kind of kid at home. And when you go to a hostel, you have to do your own laundry. You have to wash your own dishes. You have to cook at times because on Sunday the mess is off. So it was a big shift having all the responsibilities at once. Like, when you are forced to become an adult, even though you're 18, So, but you still have to be an adult. So that's when it hits you like, okay, you're on your own. If you don't feed yourself right now, you're going to starve. So it was tough in the beginning. I used to lament a lot. Okay, I have to do the laundry, I have to do this and that. But then eventually you get used to it. Okay, so this is what you have to do. Like you have more important things in life to study and to go out with your friends and have fun. So you get used to it. It takes time, but you get used to it. So yeah.
Okay, so I first wanted to live in a hostel, but after listening to this, I'm having second thoughts.
No, you should definitely go for a hostel life. I mean, it's great. If you look, there's one thing I think I believe in now, that living at home is like living in your parents' nest. But if you don't leave the nest, you won't learn how to fly. So no matter how hard it might be, you have to leave the nest someday to learn how to fly.
Okay, so I was asking you that what advice would you like to give to our students who are going to start their medical journey in the coming few years?
Well, anybody who is wanting to get into a medical college and is going to get into a medical college soon, I think this is one thing I wish somebody would have told me when I started my first year, was that take it slow. Don't try to run. MBBS is a 5.5 year course. It is not a sprint. It is not a 100-meter sprint. MBBS is a marathon. So you need to have the endurance to keep going. You can't have a burst of energy and complete MBBS. You can't do that, right? So there will be a lot of ups and downs throughout your journey. There will be highs and there will be lows. Obviously, you have to study a lot, but then you need to take time for yourself as well. You need to take MBBS at your own pace. You don't have to constantly compare yourself to your peers. Oh my God, he studied like 10 pages more than me. She knows this concept better than me. At the end of the day, no matter which college you're in, no matter if you get into AIMS or if you get into BHU or if you get into some college in Delhi or elsewhere, you're all going to be at the same level when you go for your postgrad, right? You're studying the same books, the same authors, everything is the same. What is going to make you stand out as a medical student is going to be your own determination and your own hard work. What you make out of yourself in a medical college is totally dependent on you. Because at the end of the day, I'm an intern right now. I mean, I'm on my own, right? I have to do everything on my own. Nobody is going to give the postgrad exam instead of me. So when you start your first year, don't get into books like, okay, we just came out of NEET. Now we're going to do the same thing here. Don't get into a stage of burnout. Take time to understand how you want to take things and take it slow.
Okay, so here I can see that people are asking questions. So Sahil asked, what kind of experiences have you had working with sick people?
Okay, so that's a very vague question. What kind of experiences I've had? So I can answer this in terms of COVID. So off late, we've had so many patients admitted here for COVID. And so I even had my COVID postings. So it was hard to see and fill out a lot of documentation, which was not really pleasant to do. I mean, so how do I explain this? So COVID was not really was really stressful. So when you see that patients are coming in a very dire state and they're coming and getting admitted into ICUs, so that takes a toll on your mental health as well, right? So that was pretty stressful. Other than that, I think getting posted in the ward and looking after patients is rewarding. When you treat someone and when you help the senior doctor treat someone and they finally go home being well, that feels really rewarding. So I think, yeah.
Yeah, I can think that it would feel really amazing helping someone and fulfilling your duties as a doctor and seeing that they get home safely.
Yeah.
So, next question. Being a doctor, one has to deal with a lot of intense situations apart from a good academic background. What, according to you, are some of the qualities one needs to have to become a good clinician?
Okay. So I think number one would be you have to be patient. If you're not patient, and even if you're patient, the patient whom you're treating is very anxious. Like obviously, someone who's sick is going to be very anxious or agitated. Even if the person is like that, you have to be patient and understand what they're trying to tell you. You have to be receptive to the patient. So a good clinician needs to be patient, needs to be a good listener in order to be able to understand what their patient is trying to tell them, and to be receptive and observant. Like if you don't have a good eye to pick up subtle signs which your patient didn't even tell you, I think that is going to make a big difference when you're going to make a diagnosis, right? So you need to be very, very observant and attentive when you're dealing with patients. So I think that makes a big difference. And of course, doctors, I think, should be very kind to their patients. That heals, I think, 50% of that, gives a sense of comfort to the patient and makes the patient feel really safe when if you're kind to them. So yeah.
Yeah. Kindness is the best thing. Like you are kind to someone, and that's really sweet. They feel really good with you and comfortable with you. Also, is there life beyond books at medical college?
Definitely there is. So people have this myth that students at medical college keep on studying the whole day, which is partially true. We need to study a lot. We have 19 subjects to cater to. That is okay. But then if you don't go out with your friends, if you don't explore the new city that you're living in, it's a waste of 5.5 years. So I personally have participated in pretty much every cultural program there has been before COVID that we had in our college. And I have done dance competitions and literary competitions and even a fashion show. So I think I've tried my hand at everything. Uh, College is that one time when you need to be yourself, explore your interests. I mean, it's your 20s, you need to enjoy, right? So even in a medical college, it's pretty much possible. Definitely.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, having fun is good, and studying, that's a balance you have to maintain, and you have certainly succeeded in it. And also, ma'am, medicine is a very broad field. So, which field would you like to specialize in and why?
Pediatrics. I love kids, like as annoying as they may seem at times and cry and wail. But I think is a kid is the cutest patient you can ever get. Having a child smile after they're well and treating a child and then having them, be really happy is the kind of joy that you get after that. I don't think any other profession, any other doctor would be that happy when you see a little kid or a baby smile. So I do want a job wherein I am happy. So going around and working with kids every day is going to make me happy because kids are cute, right? So yeah, I want to be a pediatrician.
Yeah, you're so sweet, and I can see that children would love you. Yeah, you can be. Yeah, you're very sweet. And when I first heard that I was going to interview someone, I was really honored and thrilled. But when I found out I was going to interview you, I was shocked to see your achievements, and it was really a great honor. And so, ma'am, what were your highlights? What were the highlights of your life in medical school?
Well, apart from all the cultural events and going out that I did, apart from that, I became inclined towards research a lot. So, starting on my third year, I started participating in a lot of research activities, and I started working under my mentor for a research project, and that gradually became 2 research projects and 3 research projects. So, I think that was one of the major highlights because once I started that, I participated in this one conference. Like, okay, let's try that. So I went for this oral presentation, and I got the first prize. So I was like, okay, so this is something that I can try my hand at. I like speaking and I like presenting my research. So I signed up for multiple conferences and I ended up going to Germany in 2019 to present. And then I've presented at, I think, around 5 more conferences. So doing research presentations throughout my MBBS was one of the major highlights, definitely. And apart from that, so I was a part of this team, and we organized. I was the founder and organizer of this event called Eliquiz. So this was an all India undergrad quiz at my college for the first time, and taking up a leadership role and managing everything from the questions to the judges to the participants, even the catering, was like managing a whole event was an experience in itself. So I think that really was one of the major highlights of my medical school.
That's really great. It's simply really great. And ma'am, the medical profession is full of challenges, and recently we have and are still facing one of the biggest challenges, the COVID-19 pandemic. So, as a young doctor, what were and are your struggles through this pandemic? Share your experiences.
So I was posted for my COVID posting in July. And as I was mentioning previously, it was pretty stressful. Like I was posted for a night duty. So we used to do 10 hours at night, like starting from 10 p.m., 9 p.m. at night. We used to do an all-nighter. So that was really stressful. And apart from that, I think even in day-to-day life, we still have those all of those COVID restrictions and masking restrictions. It is very hard for us as healthcare professionals to make patients and their attendants listen to us about COVID protocols and regulations. It is very hard for us to ask them, to convince them to wear a mask properly or to sanitize their hands, to maintain social distancing. I mean, BHU is a tertiary care center. It is loaded with patients, right? So when you are in an OPD and you're seeing like 200 patients a day, and with that kind of patient influx, it becomes very difficult to follow social distancing. So definitely you have that fear in the back of your mind, like, okay, so what if COVID breaks out here? It's going to be huge. So I think a COVID-like situation here in Varanasi is pretty difficult to handle. But yeah, we were over the worst, I think, to hope for the
Yeah.
best.
Many of us are still not, many of us, like in daily life also, we are not following the protocols, like not wearing the mask, not sanitizing our hands. But I think the situation is getting better and we will get through it. So I have another question from Rohan here. What books, films, or other media come to mind as having particularly important to your sciences slash non-sciences education?
Okay. What books in terms of not okay? I'll answer this two ways. So if you want to know about what kind of books I read during my NEET prep, so that's a completely separate story. You can email me for that. But if you want to know what kind of books I read otherwise, or movies I watch, I think I'm a big fan of science fiction, and in books and movies both. And I think that didn't really contribute to me becoming a doctor, if that's what Rohan wants to ask me, if that helped me towards my journey into a scientific career. I really don't think so. I think it's more for leisure. But yeah, I really enjoy watching science fiction and reading science fiction. I'm an avid reader. Science fiction is my cup of tea. So yeah.
Yeah, science is like one of my favorite subjects, and sometimes I might get confused, but thanks for letting me know. And you can suggest some of the movies or books later.
Sure.
Yeah. So, ma'am, you are currently pursuing your MBBS internship at Institute of Medical Sciences, Banaras Hindu University. As an intern, how do you manage your time and relieve stress?
So as an intern, it gets very hard to manage stress and time because of the long duty hours. We don't have a fixed time to work, so we can be called into the ward at any time. But regardless, I think I try to take out time for myself to every morning. Like I get up every morning and I have this routine of making breakfast and making a nice cup of coffee for myself. So having a routine really helps. And I think to relax, I love gardening. So I have I'm a plant mother. I have like 20 different plants in my balcony. So it's like a mini jungle. I really like doing that. So I think, and of course, I mean, one of the things that has helped me in 5 years of college and still does is talking to my mom. I can talk to her for hours and hours straight, and that is the best stress relieving exercise you can do. Talk to your mom.
Yes, as soon as I heard that you said talk to your mom, I keep on talking to her. She's my best friend of all. And yeah, that's really great to have a plan and do gardening gardening relieves stress. I can see playing with the mud and all. I love to do all that. So, what essential study tips would you like to give to our students?
So, as I previously mentioned in the other question, I think all those things. And apart from that, if you talk about note taking, I think students who are in school right now or are preparing for NEET mostly should. If you take from my personal experience, I used to use a lot of colors in my notes, right? So color coding helps a lot because I'm a visual learner, right? So it's basic that if you try and learn something when you're hearing it and when you're looking at it, so if you're using more of your senses, you're learning things better, right? So either you start talking either you start dictating it to yourself while studying, or when if you make a diagram out of it and then study or use colors. So that is going to be a good study aid when you study. And definitely, apart from that, I think other study tips. I think I previously talked about a lot when I was talking about the NEET preparation tips. So I think I've covered that.
Yeah, I did not know that coloring visuals would help me. So thanks for letting me know and everybody else. So that's good. And the medical field, as we all know, is a field in which, beside teaching and hands-on learning, is of utmost importance. So, would you say that online education is a success approach to learning medicine?
Not really. So during COVID, I think we were at home for 9 months, and we had online classes, which were presentations by our teachers, and we came back here in around December, and we had offline classes back then, and it was a drastic change. So we had like offline classes for 3 years, and then online classes for another 9 months, and offline classes. So we could feel the change, right? So as a medical student, if you do not go to the ward, go to the patient's bedside, and if you don't experience and touch the patient yourself, if you don't feel what you're reading in the book, it's very hard for you to learn something. So we had like a rapid fast December in which we tried to grasp as many skills and as much of clinical exposure as we could in the wards, to be able to get at par uh, to our seniors who had like a proper pre-COVID postings. So I think we're making up for that right now in our internship. Going to the ward daily is really helping because you start assimilating that information which you read in the book when you see that in a patient. So I think medical education online is not that effective. I mean, if you teach the same concept in school, then the person can still grasp it, right? So if you're teaching NCRT on the board, and if you're teaching NCRT, if you have your NCRT book open, that's okay. But if you're teaching something which you need to see in person to be able to understand, it's very hard for students to understand that.
Yeah, I'm saying online education has really just gave us mental stress, and we were not able to go to our school. And yeah, it's been really hard doing online education. And in medicine now, I know it's been hard too. So, what do you feel are the social responsibilities as a doctor, and what type of community volunteer work are you involved in?
I think a doctor, especially a doctor in India, should be involved with the community. If you are, I'm not saying that you should go to the rural areas and, get posted there and work for them. It's not just that. So even if you're working in an urban area, you need to be involved actively in the community. You need to be help in order to help people. You need to sit among them and get to know what kind of community you're dealing with. So I personally have done a lot of health camps and awareness campaigns. So I really like it when I get into the community and I talk to people. So when I was doing my research work as well, I was collecting data and I was asking questions. So you kind of get a different perspective altogether. That okay, there are people who don't know the very basics of science, who don't know the very basics of healthcare, right? So telling them all of that, making them aware and helping them in a way is really fulfilling. And I was even thinking of coming back to school one day and doing an awareness program or of sorts for adolescents because I have my research paper on that. So I was thinking of doing like a small program for students of class, I don't know, early classes to help them get to know more about adolescence because you guys are literally 10 to 14 to 18 years, 18-year old. So I think, yeah, community involvement is really important.
Okay, so I want to ask you another question. And yeah, also I can see a lot of wishes for you. Like keep it up, very good. You have reached a good, yeah. There are so many wishes here. Like keep it up, very well done, and that's really great. So now to set the mood a little lighter, I would ask you, we all might grow physically and mentally, but somewhere in our heart and at the back of our mind, we still have a child inside us. A part of us that just wants to go back to the young childhood days. So, what memories or childhood things would you like to revisit?
I think I would go back to the time when I was that kid, that 5-year-old kid who used to go to the park every day, carelessly roaming around, doing every little swing. I think that kind of carefreeness, not carelessness, but I think I want to be that carefree kid again who didn't have anything to worry about. I think I'd really love to go back to that phase and be under that constant care of my parents without having to worry about anything.
That's just great. Like, who wants to care? Like, who wants everybody? Who wants everything to be dependent on them? And parents just do everything for you and they help you groom and they take care of you. That's just great. And I have just come across some questions. Actually, a question that I particularly saw, it's here from Smita. How to keep ourselves healthy post-COVID?
Post COVID, okay. So I think if you've already had a COVID infection, one thing which you should particularly focus upon is are your lungs. So I think aerobic exercises will really help. Doing anulom vilom, which is a yoga exercise, in the morning or in the evening, whenever you can find time for 15 minutes, will really help you build up that strength and that vitality of your lungs. And not just that, you're supposed to, instead of popping a lot of vitamin C tablets, it's the winter season now. So I think you should focus more on eating a lot of citrus fruits, take a lot of oranges, and a lot of things which will build up your immunity, apples and all. So I think taking a healthy diet and regular exercise will, like aerobic exercises, will really help build up your strength post COVID.
Okay, so yeah, I wanted. So thank you, Dr. Kalika. And before we conclude this session, I'm sure the viewers would like to know more about you as a person. So, ma'am, what do you do in your leisure time?
So, as I mentioned before, I am an avid reader. I love reading. I read a lot of novels and I spend time with my plants. And I'm particularly fond of coffee. So, I don't just go out to any barista and cafe coffee day, but I brew coffee at home. Like I have a machine and I make my own coffee. So, doing these little things like since I don't have a lot of time and we can't really go out because of COVID. So I think lockdown has really helped me to discover new interests. Reading and gardening have been constant, but yeah, brewing coffee is one new thing which I've taken up.
That's really great. So now for my most favorite question, not to be biased. So if you could invite four people from the past to dinner, who would they be and why? What would you talk about?
Okay, I would invite four of my previous selves: the 5-year-old Kalika, the 13-year-old Kalika, the 17-year-old Kalika, and the 20-year-old Kalika. I would invite all four of them to a dinner and tell them, particularly, that bachas, you don't need to worry, you're going to be fine, right? You're doing great. So I think they need to know the most that they're doing okay. So rather than some celebrity or really important person from the past, I think I would not want my previous self to know that she's going to be okay. So I think that.
That gave me goosebumps, and I never thought one could answer like this. And I was really, my heart is overfilled with joy right now to hear this. And so Deepti here is asking few lung exercises. Please suggest.
I think I already mentioned Anulom Vilom, and that is the best you can do breathing exercises. And I think, yeah, apart from that, brisk walking and long distance running, which is not too fast, but long distance running will really help build up stamina. So if you try, like, I'm not saying that go out and run a mile. No, don't do that. Start from like a 10-minute run or a 5-minute run, and then slowly build it up. So as your body gets accustomed to long distance running, your vital capacity of the lungs is going to improve and your body is going to feel better. So if you have already suffered from COVID, you can even like ask your if you know some person who specializes in yoga, you can ask that person about particular lung exercises which are going to be good for you. And I think Anulom Vilom and long distance running are three things which you really can do.
Okay, glad. I was really glad to know that. So thank you, Dr. Kalika, for this enriching, enlightening, and entertaining session. I'm sure the viewers have enjoyed as much as I liked hosting it. And sadly, now we have come to an end, and I wish I could take up more questions and chat a little longer. But guess time doesn't wait for anyone. It was a great honor, Dr. Kalika, and I've learned so much from you and about you today. Hope you and all the viewers have enjoyed today's session. Thank you so much for taking out time from your very busy schedule for us. Had a great pleasure having you here today. Thank you so much and have a great weekend.
Thank you so much for having me. It was an absolute honor to be on a show which was hosted by my alma mater, DPS Indirapuram. I am honored and really blessed. Thank you.
Thank you. I was really honored to interview you, and it was a great experience. It was my first time interviewing someone, and it has been a great pleasure doing it with you.
So just one last thing, anyone who wants to reach out to me can reach out to me at Dr. Kalika Maheshwari at gmail.com. So I don't think I can display that here, but then it's a pretty easy email ID to remember. And apart from that, thank you, Navya, for being an amazing host. And I wish you all the best.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.